Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video on my channel, Makes Movies. If you are new to this channel, this is basically where I talk to you guys about my passion for movies. This goes from collections, hauls, reviews, and to today's video, so let's get into it. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone! I'm hoping you're all enjoying your Valentine's Day, whether you're with someone or you're single. Whatever the case, I'm hoping you're having a lovely day. Now, of course, in honour of Valentine's Day, normally I would do an original versus remake on a Thursday. But with today being what it is, I have to do it today. And I'm finally doing this. I've been wanting to do this for a little while. I did want to do this last year. I ended up watching the films, but then didn't do the video. So we're now finally doing it. We are now doing the original versus remake for My Bloody Valentine, the horror Valentine's Day slasher films. Yes! Oh, so excited to do this on Valentine's Day as well. And saying, if you're single, you don't want to really watch any romantic films, My Bloody Valentine, the original and the remake, watch those. So we are looking at the 81 up against the 2009 version starring Jensen Ackles. Sorry, I love Jensen Ackles. Anyway, so if you are new to this channel and you're not seen any of my previous videos, the original versus remake is where I talk to you guys basically about the original and the remake and which one I prefer. However, with this series, I get you guys interacting with me. So I put a poll up, usually a few days before, sometimes pushing it a couple of days before, but I do tend to post a poll up for you guys to pick which one you prefer. And sometimes it astounds me which ones you go for. Sometimes I'm like, I can understand it. And sometimes I'm like, was not expecting that. So, but yeah, so we'll start by talking about what you guys picked. And you went for the original, but the remake is not too far behind. So that's a nice little surprise. It's very rare for me to see that on my polls. So it's a nice little surprise. But the big question is, which one do I prefer? Do I prefer the original or the remake? So let's get into it. We're going to start by talking about the original. And I will just give you pre-warning, guys, that these are all, like both of these, are second time watches. So this is my second time watching both these films. So sort of like refreshing my memory, but also at the same time refreshing my feelings, maybe? Let's get into it. So we're going to now talk about the original. So just to give you a very basic plot summary, because it's kind of similar in both films, so I'm just going to give a very basic plot summary. We are following these group of characters that are trying to celebrate Valentine's Day. However, you've got this character, Harry Warden, going around and basically causing trouble. I'm not going to say any more than that. I'm going to keep everything as spoiler-free as possible. That's what I try and do on this channel. Obviously, it's not always guaranteed, but I do try my best. But that's just the basics. That is literally just the basic plot summary. I'm not going to say any more on that. So, like I said, this is a second time watch for me, and I do like 80s slashers. I think they were some of the best ones we got. Obviously, Scream from the 90s is always going to be top dog. But the slashers from the 80s, like Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, Friday the 13th, like all of those, to be honest, are amazing. And this is one of them. I actually quite enjoyed this. I was very surprised. I wasn't really sure what I was going to go into this with. I will also say I did see the remake before seeing this one. So, yeah. So with this, it's quite a nice little story. It's something a little bit, well, it's not too different, but it's, what's the best way to explain it? It is a romantic slasher in the sense of it's set on Valentine's Day, and then there's a killer on the loose, basically. But what I like about this film and what makes it that little bit different from other films is that you've got that added thing of, is this a true thing that's happening, or is this sort of like not happening? It's a very weird way to explain it. But with the original, I do like the characters we got in this and the actors. I think they did a really good job. For some reason, 80s slashers have that comedic soundtrack behind it. That always throws me off a little bit. But I will say the kills in this film are pretty good. Now, I did hear when I watched the dead meat kill count for this film that there were some bits cut out of it where it made it less gruesome, which, of course, when you're dealing with the MPA and things like that, you do have to do that. But to be honest, I think the kills that we did see, I think they weren't that bad. I do like the extended clips that I did see in the kill count, but I think for what we got, it weren't that bad. The characters were fun, like I said. The little love triangle we have in this film between Axel, Tom and Sarah is quite fun. It's a bit typical. It's a bit predictable in that sense because it's two guys fighting over a girl, blah, 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 and all that. But I like this slasher. I think it embodies the 80s. I will say, though, there was one character that really annoyed me, and I believe his name was Howard. I think it was Howard. He's a tall, skinny, dry guy, but he annoyed me. He was supposed to be the comic relief, but to be honest, he kind of annoyed me a bit. The other characters, not so much. But the kills in this, oh my god, the kills. There's so many memorable kills in this, and it's quite shocking that they actually did those. I love a kill that can shock me when it's not a basic kill, not a basic stab to the neck or things like that where it goes out of the way. I like that. Of course, yeah, again, I will reference Scream. I do like the kills in Scream, even if it is just with a knife, but they make it sort of like dramatic and tense. This one, they use multiple things. Although his weapon is mostly a pickaxe, so yeah. The ending as well, I will say I didn't see the twist coming. That surprised me, and even now, upon rewatching it, I was quite surprised. Because I thought it was one thing, but then it turned out to be another thing, and I can't believe I forgot about that. You'd think something like that would have stuck in my head, but it didn't. And also, thinking about it as well, I look back through this film after watching it, and I just think, I didn't see any hints of this anywhere. There was nothing to drop or say, like, this twist was coming, or anything like that. So that shocked me. Also, the evil laugh at the end of this film, love it. It is very evil. I love an evil laugh that actually makes you go, what the hell? And that laugh made me go, what the hell? I will say, yeah, again, it is your typical 80s horror slasher, so it can be a little bit like the fights and that don't look all that great, but they are enjoyable. I do actually like the character of Tom in this film. He's quite cute, not gonna lie. But no, overall, for an 80s slasher that was going up against quite a few good slashers in the 80s. I mean, you've got Nightmare on Elm Street, like I said, and you had things like Child's Play and things like that. So, of course, with them, they became more iconic than this. But I will say, I would happily return to this film. I would watch it again. Probably try and watch it every Valentine's Day if I can. Or if not, try and watch it every couple of years, because it is enjoyable. And you know what? I actually wouldn't mind getting the 4K copy from America and putting that in my collection, because I have the remake on Blu-ray, but I don't have the original. But yeah, for an original 80s movie, I enjoyed it. And I will say this, a lot of people might hate me for this, but I enjoyed it a bit more than Friday the 13th. I will be honest here. I don't know why, but I just do. A lot of people probably hate me for making that comment, but you know what? My opinion is my opinion. But no, so the original, a fun little 80s slasher film. Weird soundtrack a little bit, some fun kills, but overall a pretty decent horror film. And I gave this film a 7.5 out of 10 because I did enjoy this film nonetheless. But now, let's talk about my thoughts on the remake. So with the remake, like I said, Jensen Ackles is in this, and that's one of the only reasons why I may or may not have watched it. Because I don't know whether I was starting Supernatural or I was halfway through Supernatural, and then I found out he was in this, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch this, along with watching the Friday the 13th remake, because it's got Jared Padalecki in it. I love how both of them two were in horror films at the same time they were doing Supernatural, and in the same year, might I add. Hilarious, love that for them. But yeah, so with this one, this is not the best remake in the world. So, like with my Fright Night, the Fright Night remake is top dog for me. Out of all the horror remakes I've watched, that's top dog for me. But what I will say is, apologies, I am kind of a little bit hungry. You'll hear my stomach growl. But what I will say is, this is what I want a remake to do. In the sense of, it doesn't copy and paste the original. When a remake copy and pastes the original, to me, it doesn't add anything new. It doesn't make you want to be wanting to watch the original. It just makes you go, oh, well, it's the same thing. Why should I enjoy it? This one actually adds bits to it. It goes through the events of the first film in some kind of way, but they add a bit more to it. But they also add a different aspect to it. They change things up. And that's what I want a remake to do. I want it to follow the plot in a sense, maybe copy a few things here and there, but add bits to it, change it, modernize it, do what you want to do, but just don't copy it. When you copy the original, it's no different. You may as well watch the original one because it's going to be better. So, yeah. So my opinions on this, I actually quite enjoyed this remake. Like I said, Fright Night is the top dog. I do have a couple of issues with this film. I will say it is a tad bit predictable. I kind of wish they had done something a bit different or laid out the plot in a different way, because the new way they went with it, I like that they went a new way, but it was predictable, and I feel like if it hadn't have gone the way it did, I might have given it a more higher score. I feel like when I first watched it, I think I was shocked by how much I enjoyed it, especially with Jensen in it, and I think I was just sort of like, oh my god, yeah. But now upon a second rewatch, I have got my issues with it. But the actors in this are okay. Jensen is, of course, the best actor in this. I'm going to be honest here. That might just be biased feelings. Who knows? But what I will say as well, the kills in this one, whew, there's one kill in this that's just so well done, and it's just, oh, that makes your jaw clench. It's like, ooh. I also like the fact there's this really cool effect where it's jumping from one character to another. It's right near the end. I'm not going to say what it is or anything like that, because I try and stay spoiler-free as possible. But if you watch this film, right near the end, you'll see it. And it's where this character is hitting things. And it's sort of like it changes, and you'll see that. I like that. But like I said, don't get me wrong. The plot, like I said, is predictable, but I like the newness to it. I like the fact they tried to change it. I will say some of the characters that survived, to be honest, I wish didn't. That's very rare for me to say that to a horror film. But with this, I was like, yeah, there's a couple of characters that I wish had gone, or I wish it had gone a different way in the plot for them. But you know what? It was a remake, and I will say the characters in the original, I feel like were done better, and the remake one, they were okay, but they weren't carbon copies. I will say as well, it is one of those modern remakes, so it is one where there's nudity, sex scene, so it's one of those where it's like they're trying to bring in the modern generation. Not every horror movie in the modern generation needs to have sex scenes. Hell me, why does that have to be a thing? It annoys me sometimes when they do that. I mean, things like, you got Hereditary. Not one sex scene in that film, and that's amazing horror film. But I don't know why remakes feel the need to do this. I don't. Especially in the 2000s, that is very noticeable. But overall, for a remake, like I said, it is a pretty decent one. I enjoyed it. I like watching it. I did try watching it in 3D, to which of course it's with the old 3D glasses. Yeah. I forgot how weird those look through 3D glasses. So I ended up watching the 2D one because I feel like you forget, because you haven't had those blue and red glasses for a while, that when you do watch it, you forget how different the colouring is and all that. So yeah. But no, Jensen was the best part of this film, hands down. Sarah, she was good. The actress that played her, she was alright. But as I say, for me, the characters are a bit more likeable in the original than they are the remake. So, for me, the remake has its hits and it also has its misses. So it's a bit hard for me. But I know a lot of people have got this marked quite low. I wouldn't mark it low. I've seen a lot worse remakes compared to this one. I would happily have this higher up. In fact, you know what? I might even have it at my number, like in my top 5 horror remakes, like probably after Fright Night. It'd probably be about there somewhere. So yeah, it's one of those that it's a tough one. I feel like maybe if you watch it too many times, you might then start to lose interest. I mean, like I said, for me, this was my second time, at least I believe it's my second time, watching this film, and my feelings aren't as massive for it as it was before. So, overall, it is a really good remake, and one I think people should watch at least once. I will say the 3D effects, not that great. The CGI is a little bit off, but you can kind of get past that. Well, at least I think you can. And saying there's this nice twist scene near the end as well, where something's happening with one character, but the other characters are dealing with, like, they can't see what that character's dealing with. So weird. So yeah, it's a mental thing, is all I'm gonna say. But no, overall, the remake, good remake. Like I said, I happily have it in my collection. I wouldn't mind owning it on 4K, to be honest. If it got an upgrade, I'd be happy with that. The ending, the last couple of minutes, all right. I do kind of, surprisingly, actually kind of wish we got a sequel. In a very weird way, just because I'd love to see where they would have gone with the plot now. But it's one of those ones that if we ever get it, we get it. We don't, we don't. But yeah, so my final score for this film, to be honest, is the exact same as the original, 7.5 out of 10. When I first watched it would have been an 8 out of 10, possibly an 8.5. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what I marked it once before. But I'm now going to give it the same mark as the original. Now, this is where it's going to be challenging for me. I've now got to decide which one I prefer, the original or the remake. Because they are both scored the same. And to be honest, when I think about one and then I think about the other, and it's sort of like it teeters, it just sort of like goes, ooh, ooh, which one do I go for? So, what am I going to go for? What am I going to go for? Oh my god. I think I'm going to have to be completely honest with myself. Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm going to have to go with the original. I'm sorry, Jensen. I love the remake. You did so well in it. But thinking about it when you watch the films back to back, I think I prefer the original just that little bit more. It sucks. I hate saying that because Jensen's my favourite and I want it to be top. No, I'm going to have to go with the original. The original is my pick as well. But the remake, like I said, comes very close behind. Who knows? Maybe upon a further rewatch, maybe when I give them another watch another year, that might change. I might prefer the remake over the original. Who knows? This is going to be one of those ones that I feel like it's going to teeter every time I watch them. But yes, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not really sure what the next original versus remake is going to be. I haven't fully decided yet. I've got one in my head that I'm thinking about doing, but I'm not really sure. I think what I want to do is come March, because that's when we're supposed to get Snow White, the remake. I kind of want that month to focus on the Disney live action remakes and get a few of those done. So I'm not really sure. We will see. We will see. But yeah, I'm not sure what the next one will be. I'll post it on the community as soon as I decide. But if there's any you want to see, any original versus remakes you want to see, let me know in the comments, because this is a series that I really want to focus on my channel to get this to where I want it to be in its goodness, and then I'll start focusing on other series. But yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then do give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button and also notification bell down below to be notified when I post. And leave me your comments and thoughts on the original and the remake. Give me your reasons why you prefer one or the other. Let me know your thoughts on the remake as well. Because I think, if I'm going to be completely honest with myself as well, I think I prefer Jared Padalecki's Friday the 13th over Jensen Ackles' My Bloody Valentine. I can't believe I said that. Oh, Jensen's my man. Dean Winchester, I love you. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say, because otherwise I'll babble on. But yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you had a very lovely Valentine's Day, and I'll see you guys soon.